I never intended to start a battle that morning, but the second my father opened his mouth, everything shifted. "We're planning your sister's engagement that weekend," he said casually as he sipped his tea. "You can move your wedding." Move. Like my entire future was a piece of furniture he wanted pushed to the corner. I waited for the hurt to come. It didn't. Something colder took its place. I told him I understood. He thought I meant it the way he wanted. I didn't. By nighttime, their family group chat was in chaos. Screenshots flying, frantic messages piling up, all because my fiancé's surname had finally reached their ears like a bomb waiting to detonate. But the real story began long before that explosion. It started 2 years earlier, the night my ex-fiancé said he needed space. He stood in my doorway wearing that rehearsed expression, the kind people use when they think they're doing you a favor. He dragged his suitcase out like he was finally lifting a weight off himself. I still remember the quiet click of the door. Neat. Final. I didn't collapse because he left. I sank down because I knew he didn't leave on his own. My family had always treated my relationships like group projects, unspoken judgments, careful approvals, pointed silences. He fit everything they wanted. Soft-spoken, manageable, easy to sway. He didn't walk away from me. He was nudged. The betrayal had several hands on it. I met him on New Year's Eve. He spilled his drink on my dress and apologized so many times I almost laughed. It was simple, awkward, and somehow comforting. I thought I'd finally found someone who chose me, not the version approved by my family. My parents adored him instantly. My sister barely tolerated him. He blended with them so smoothly I didn't notice the ground cracking beneath me. Love isn't blind, I think. It just ignores whispers it doesn't want to hear. The truth didn't hit me like a slap. It crept in, a message I glanced at accidentally. "Did you tell her yet? Mom and Dad want you to be sure before you commit." Then one from my sister. "You deserve better than her. She'll thank us one day." Us. That word snapped something inside me. I confronted him with the phone still warm in my palm. He stumbled through excuses, tried to rephrase, tried again. I nodded through every lie. Not a tear, not a shout. He realized he was already gone. My family expected a meltdown. They got silence instead. Silence scares people. It makes them think you're harmless when you're not. While they planned my sister's engagement, the favored daughter, the flawless one, I began rebuilding myself. I attended business dinners my father thought were too complex for me, meetings he assumed would bore me, conversations with people he believed would treat me as invisible. They didn't. They listened, and I learned. And that's where I met the man who would later become my husband. His name carried weight in the industry. Quiet power, the kind that doesn't boast but is never forgotten. I didn't choose him for vengeance, though the irony didn't escape me. He liked that I wasn't someone who needed rescuing. When he proposed, I didn't rush home with the news. I let it drip through the family grapevine, through a cousin who couldn't keep her mouth shut, an uncle who thrived on gossip, a friend who adored chaos. By the time the announcement reached my parents, panic had already settled in. My father recognized the last name. Old rivalries, past insults, decisions he made years ago that hadn't been forgiven. My husband's family wasn't spiteful. They simply remembered everything. When I told my parents the date, my father forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. That was when he said it. "You can move your wedding." As if I were still the girl, sitting on the floor, crying over the man they helped remove from my life. I smiled back. I understand. And I walked out. That night, their group chat erupted. My sister sent voice notes between sobs. My mother panicked. My father said nothing, which meant fear. Someone finally searched my future father-in-law's name. Someone else dug up the old business feud. Someone whispered that the man they once looked down on now controlled contracts they desperately needed. Later that evening, my fiancé loosened his tie and said, "Someone contacted me today." "Who?" "Your ex." Of course he did. I told my fiancé the position my ex walked away from had been filled long ago. He smiled, proud, knowing exactly what that meant. At my wedding, I didn't look around for my family. I didn't have to. This wasn't about revenge. It was about clarity. They taught me that their loyalty came with conditions. I learned mine didn't. When my husband took my hand, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not triumph, but peace. Sometimes the strongest payback is simply becoming someone they can no longer control.